Day 4. Power's been out since Monday morning. You're at your kitchen window, watching 12 strangers walk slowly down your street. They're not running. They're not panicking. They're scanning, house by house, yard by yard, looking for signs of life, signs of food, signs of weakness. One of them points at your neighbor's generator. The sound carries 2 blocks in dead silence. You watch them change direction, moving toward the noise, toward the fuel, toward the supplies someone was stupid enough to advertise. That generator is a 3,500-watt beacon screaming, "Come take my stuff," to anyone within a quarter mile. Your neighbor thought he was prepared. He was, for a power outage, not for what comes after. In 60 seconds, 12 strangers will be at his door. He has a shotgun. They have numbers. The math is simple. The math is brutal. The math is about to become his reality. Here's what nobody tells you about collapse. The disaster itself won't kill you. The hurricane passes. The earthquake stops shaking. The grid goes down and stays down. That's not the threat. The threat is what forms in the vacuum. Within 72 hours of infrastructure failure, human behavior reorganizes into predictable patterns. I call this the golden horde problem. Not because everyone becomes a raider, because desperation follows physics. And physics doesn't negotiate. Everything breaks. The question is, what breaks first? Today I'm going to walk you through 9 threat patterns that emerge after collapse. Not 7 like you've heard, 9. Because the 2 patterns everyone ignores are the ones that actually kill prepared people. The neighbor who knew you before. The person inside your own group. Those are the blind spots. Those are where people die. But first, you need to understand the physics of the swarm. Stop. Think about what happens in the first 72 hours. Hour 0 to 6. Confusion. Most people assume the power will come back on. They wait. They check their phones. They realize the phones don't work. Some drive to check on family. Gas stations have lines. ATMs are dark. Credit cards don't process. Hour 6 to 24. The first wave of buying. Grocery stores get stripped, not looted, bought. People still have cash. They buy what's left. The stores don't restock because the trucks aren't running, because the distribution centers are dark, because the grid is down. It's a cascading failure. One broken link, whole system stops. Hour 24 to 48. Reality sets in. People who didn't prepare start thinking about who did. They remember the neighbor who talked about emergency supplies. They remember the coworker who joked about having a generator. They start making lists, not shopping lists, target lists. Hour 48 to 72. Movement begins. People leave cities. They don't have a destination. They just know they can't stay. A family of 4 needs 8,000 calories a day just to maintain. That's 240,000 calories a month. That's 60 pounds of rice. Where are they going to find 60 pounds of rice when the stores are empty? They're going to find it in your pantry, if they know you have it. After 72 hours, swarm forms. Not organized, not led. Just a mass of desperate people moving in the same direction. Toward resources, toward suburbs, toward you. This is the physics. 10,000 people leave a city with 3 days of food. After 3 days, 10,000 people need food. Some will beg, some will trade, some will take. The ratio shifts every day the crisis continues. Day 3, 80% asking, 20% taking. Day 7, 50-50. Day 14, the askers have either found food or joined the takers. This isn't speculation. This is what happened in New Orleans, in Puerto Rico, in Venezuela. Same pattern, every time. Everything breaks. The question is, what breaks first? Now, the 9 patterns. I'm going to show you who's coming and why. Not to scare you, to prepare you. Because each pattern has a weakness. Each weakness has a counter. But here's what nobody wants to tell you. The real problem isn't the raiders. The real problem is pattern 9. Pattern 1, the desperate provider. Day 5. A man knocks on your door. He's not armed. He's not threatening. He's holding a child. He's asking for water. Just water. His daughter hasn't had anything to drink since yesterday. He's not a bad person. 2 weeks ago, he was an accountant. He coached Little League. He paid his taxes. Now he's standing at your door with a dehydrated 6-year-old, and he will do whatever it takes to save her. This is the most dangerous pattern because it doesn't look dangerous. It looks human. It looks like something you would do. And that's exactly why it works. The desperate provider isn't running a con. He's genuinely desperate. But desperation has physics too. Today he's asking. Tomorrow he's bargaining. Day after tomorrow, when his daughter's kidneys start failing, he's taking. 72 hours without water, and the body begins to shut down. The brain calculates survival, not morality. A father watching his child die will do things the accountant never would. The danger, you help one, word spreads. By day 6, there's a line at your door. By day 7, the line becomes a crowd. By day 8, the crowd realizes you have more than you're sharing. Mathematics takes over. The counter, you cannot be known as a source. Period. Once you're marked as someone who has resources and shares them, you've painted a target on your house that gets bigger every day the crisis continues. This sounds cold. It is. Survival is cold. I know you don't want to hear this. That's exactly why you need to. Pattern 2, the opportunistic predator. This one you'll recognize from every crime statistic you've ever read. Roughly 4% of any population exhibits antisocial personality traits. In a city of 500,000, that's 20,000 people who were held in check by police, cameras, and consequences. Day 3 of grid down, those constraints disappear. The cameras are dark, police are protecting their own families, the courts aren't processing cases. For 96% of the population, collapse is a disaster. For 4%, it's an opportunity. The opportunistic predator was waiting for this. Not consciously, not with a plan. But somewhere in the back of their brain, they always knew the rules were temporary. Now the rules are gone, and they're free. Recognition signals, they're too calm. Everyone else is panicking, rationing, conserving. They're relaxed. They're watching. They're assessing. They move with purpose when everyone else is frozen with fear. That confidence isn't strength. It's the absence of the internal conflict everyone else is experiencing. They don't have the voice saying, "This is wrong." They never did. The counter. You cannot reason with someone who lacks the capacity for reciprocity. Do not engage. Do not negotiate. Do not let them know you have anything worth taking. Be rock. Be boring. Be empty. Be invisible. Pattern 3, the false authority. Week 2. A truck pulls up to your neighborhood. 3 people in tactical gear, vests that say FEMA. Clipboards, official-looking forms. They're conducting a resource assessment. They need to know what supplies each household has so they can coordinate distribution. It's for the community. It's mandatory. They have paperwork. Stop. FEMA doesn't go door to door with clipboards. The National Guard doesn't conduct resource assessments without armed escort and official convoy. Real authority travels in groups of 20, not 3. Real authority has radio communication with a command structure. Real authority doesn't ask what you have. They tell you what they're bringing. False authority exploits the relief people feel when someone appears to be in charge. After 2 weeks of chaos, a uniform feels like salvation. That's the trap. The uniform is a costume. The paperwork is a prop. The assessment is a shopping list for what they're coming back to take tomorrow night. Recognition. Ask for radio contact with their command. Ask for their unit designation. Ask which facility they're operating out of. Real responders have immediate answers. False authority hesitates, deflects, gets aggressive. That aggression tells you everything. The counter, don't answer the door. If you do answer, give nothing. Claim you've already been assessed. Claim you reported to a different location. Be boring. Be compliant. Be useless. Let them move to an easier target. Everything breaks. The question is what breaks first. Pattern 4. The organized element. This is the pattern everyone thinks about when they picture collapse. Gangs, militias, armed groups with structure and leadership. In reality, this pattern is less common than movies suggest, but more dangerous when it appears. Organized elements don't form overnight. They exist before collapse, operating in shadow economies, and they transition seamlessly when the official economy dies. They have supply chains. They have territory. They have discipline. The math is what matters. A militia of 40 members needs 80,000 calories a day. That's 2.4 million calories a month. That's 600 pounds of rice per month, forever. Where does that come from? It comes from other people. It comes from you. Do the math yourself. 40 people. Average 2,000 calories each. That's 80,000 daily. Now add water. 3 liters per person minimum. That's 120 liters a day. 3,600 liters a month. Now add fuel for vehicles, ammunition for enforcement, medical supplies for injuries. A militia doesn't survive on ideology. It survives on logistics. And logistics means extraction. From someone. Recognition, organized elements don't knock. They don't ask. They arrive in numbers that make resistance obviously futile. 3 trucks, 12 armed people. They take what they want and leave a clear message. This is their territory now. You pay tribute or you leave. The counter, you need to be gone before they arrive. Once an organized element controls a territory, your options reduce to 3. Comply, flee, or die. There is no fight back when you're one family against a platoon. Anyone who tells you otherwise is selling fantasy. Pattern 5. The bait mechanism. This one makes people uncomfortable. Good, it should. Day 10. There's a woman standing at the end of your driveway. She's alone. She's crying. She's holding an infant. She's asking for help. Just a little help. Just a place to rest. Her husband left. She has nowhere to go. She just needs someone kind. 50 meters behind her, in the tree line, 3 men are watching to see if you open your door. The bait mechanism is the oldest predator strategy in human history. It exploits your protective instincts, your compassion, your belief that you're a good person who helps people in need. The bait doesn't even know she's bait. She's genuinely desperate. She's genuinely scared. She just happened to mention her situation to the wrong group, who offered to help her find somewhere safe. Now she's standing in your driveway, and the help is hiding behind her. I know this sounds paranoid, I know you want to believe people are better than this. I want to believe that, too. But I've read the case studies. Sarajevo, Katrina, Venezuela. The pattern repeats. Every time. Recognition. If the approach seems designed to lower your guard, it probably is. A woman alone with a child triggers protective responses that override threat assessment. That's not accident. That's design. Look past the immediate scene. Check the perimeter. Check the tree line. Check the cars parked at odd angles down the street. The counter, help from distance. Throw supplies without approaching. Direct them to another location. Never ever open your door because someone looks helpless. The helplessness is the point. Stop. I need you to understand something. 99% of preppers focus on patterns 1 through 5. Desperate people, psychopaths, fake authority, gangs, social engineering. These are the obvious threats. These are the ones you see coming. But the patterns that actually kill prepared people are patterns 6 through 9. The quiet ones. The ones that work because you never saw them as threats at all. Pattern 6, the quiet collector. Week 3. You've noticed someone walking your neighborhood, not looting, not threatening, just walking. Every day. Different time, same route. They wave, they smile, they ask how you're doing, they seem nice, they're mapping you. The quiet collector doesn't take anything directly. They gather information. Who has supplies? Who has weapons? Who leaves at what time? Who's alone during the day? Which houses have dogs? Which have reinforced doors? They build a database, and then they sell it. Maybe they sell it to raiders for a cut of the take. Maybe they trade it to organized elements for protection. Maybe they're just building leverage for later. Either way, every friendly wave is a data point. Every answered question is intelligence. This is information as infrastructure. In a collapsed economy, knowing where resources are is as valuable as having resources. The quiet collector understands this. They're not building supplies, they're building maps. Recognition, anyone who's too interested in your situation, too curious about your preparations, too present in the neighborhood without clear purpose. Friendliness that feels probing. Questions that seem casual but circle back to the same topics. How long can you hold out? Did you stock up before things got bad? Where do you get your water? The counter, operational security is everything. Assume every conversation is being cataloged. Give nothing. Reveal nothing. Your supplies are running low. You're thinking about leaving. You don't know how much longer you can make it. Be pathetic. Be struggling. Be just like everyone else. Pattern 7. The Swarm Organism. This is what everyone fears. The golden horde. Thousands of people moving as one mass, stripping everything in their path like locusts. But here's what the fear gets wrong. The swarm isn't hunting you. The swarm isn't even aware of you. The swarm is a superorganism following resource gradients. It moves toward abundance and away from scarcity. It has no leadership, no coordination, no plan. Just 10,000 individual survival calculations pointing the same direction. The math. A swarm of 5,000 people needs 20 million calories per day. That's 8,000 pounds of food per day. The swarm will eat through a rural county in 72 hours and keep moving. It doesn't stop because it can't stop. If it stops, it starves. So it keeps rolling, and everything in its path gets absorbed or crushed. Here's what the swarm looks like from above. Satellite imagery from Hurricane Maria shows it. A dark mass moving along highway corridors, stopping at every intersection, spreading through every neighborhood that looks promising. contracting back to main arteries when resources thin out. It moves at walking speed, 3 miles per hour, 20 miles a day. In a week, it can cover 140 miles. In 2 weeks, it reaches rural areas that thought they were safe. The good news, the swarm follows main roads. It flows through paths of least resistance. It doesn't climb hills. It doesn't cross difficult terrain. It takes the easy route, because that's what desperate people do. The counter: don't be on the easy route. Distance from major highways is survival. Terrain obstacles are survival. Being 3 miles from main road means the swarm passes without ever knowing you exist. Geography is your first line of defense. But here's the thing about the swarm. You can see it coming. You can hear it coming. Thousands of people make noise. You have time to hide, to leave, to go gray. The patterns that kill you are the ones you never see. Pattern 8, the neighbor factor. This one isn't in the survival books. It should be. Your neighbor. The one who borrowed your lawnmower last summer. The one whose kid plays with your kid. The one who knows you have a generator because he heard it running. The one who knows you have a pantry because he saw the delivery truck. The one who knows exactly where you live because he's been living next to you for 5 years. Day 4 of collapse. He's thinking about you, not as a neighbor, as a resource. He knows your schedule. He knows your vehicle. He knows when you're home and when you're not. He knows your weaknesses because he's watched them for years. Every BBQ conversation, every over-the-fence chat, every piece of information you volunteered without thinking. Pre-collapse, you were neighbors. Post-collapse, you're a target who already gave the targeting data to the attacker. I'm not saying your neighbor will raid you. Most won't. But some will. And the ones who do have an intelligence advantage that no stranger could match. They know your patterns. They know your defenses. They know your blind spots because they've been watching them from 20 meters away for half a decade. The counter. Operational security starts before collapse. What did you tell people? Who saw your deliveries? Who heard your generator? Make a list of everyone who has information about your preparations. Assume half of them become threats when their children are hungry. Act accordingly. Everything breaks. The question is, what breaks first? Pattern 9, the inside threat. This is the pattern nobody talks about. This is the pattern that kills prepared people more than all others combined. This is the member of your own group who turns. Week 3. You've made it through the first wave. Your supplies are holding. Your security is solid. You're doing everything right. Except for one person in your group who's been talking to the organized element that controls the neighboring territory. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they made a deal for their own family's safety. Maybe they're just tired of being hungry when they know where more food is. The reason doesn't matter. What matters is that someone inside your defense perimeter just gave away everything. Your inventory, your rotation schedules, your security gaps, the one window that doesn't lock properly. Pre-collapse, betrayal was rare because consequences were severe. Post-collapse, betrayal is survival. The person who trades your group's information for their own safety isn't being evil. They're being rational. In a world without law, loyalty is a luxury that starving people can't afford. Recognition. Watch for isolation. People who pull away from the group. People who take walks alone at odd hours. People who ask questions they shouldn't need to ask. People who suddenly seem less worried than they should be. Relief without cause is a warning sign. The counter. Compartmentalize information. Nobody needs to know everything. Rotate responsibilities so no single person has complete intelligence. Trust, but verify. and understand that the person most likely to betray you is the person most afraid of dying. This pattern is why groups fail. Not raiders, not hordes. Betrayal from within. The math is simple. The larger your group, the higher the probability someone breaks. 3 people, maybe you're okay. 10 people, almost certain someone cracks under pressure. 20 people, count on it. Now, you understand the threats. What do you do about them? The answer is one strategy, not 9 strategies for 9 patterns. One strategy that works against all of them. Gray rock. Tactical invisibility. You become nothing worth noticing, nothing worth remembering, nothing worth coming back to. Gray rock works because all 9 patterns are looking for the same thing, visible resources. The desperate provider is looking for someone who has food. The predator is looking for someone worth robbing. The false authority is looking for someone with supplies to assess. The organized element is looking for territory worth controlling. The bait mechanism is looking for someone kind enough to help. The quiet collector is looking for information worth selling. The swarm is looking for the path of least resistance with most reward. The neighbor is looking for the opportunity he remembers. The inside threat is looking for something worth trading. If you're invisible, you're not worth any of those things. This means 3 disciplines: visual, acoustic, olfactory. Master all 3, and you disappear. Visual discipline. Everything visible from outside your property must look abandoned. No lights at night, no movement behind windows, no well-maintained appearance. Let the lawn grow. Let the paint fade. Board one window like it's been damaged. Park your vehicle somewhere it can't be seen from the street. If someone walks by, they should assume this house was already stripped. The details matter. A house that looks looted has broken windows, scattered debris, maybe a door hanging open. A house that looks abandoned has overgrown weeds, faded paint, accumulated leaves. A house that looks occupied has trimmed grass, working lights, a vehicle in the driveway. Which one draws attention? Which one invites investigation? Which one gets passed over? Blackout curtains aren't enough. A single sliver of light at 3 a.m. tells the whole neighborhood someone's home and has power. One slip, one moment of carelessness, and you're marked. Light discipline is absolute, not be careful, absolute. 0 light visible from any angle at any time. Acoustic discipline. Sound travels in silence. When the ambient noise of civilization disappears, every human sound becomes a beacon. Generators are the worst offenders. A typical generator at 65 decibels can be heard at 200 meters in dead silence. That's 2 football fields. Every house within 2 football fields knows you have power. Run the numbers. Sound intensity follows the inverse square law. At 65 decibels at source, you're at 45 decibels at 200 meters. Still clearly audible. At 400 meters, 39 decibels. Audible in silence. At 800 meters, 33 decibels. A whisper. But a whisper that runs all night. A whisper that never stops. A whisper that everyone within half a mile can hear when they're lying awake at 2 a.m., wondering if tomorrow brings food or death. Conversations carry too. Laughter, arguments, children playing. The sounds of normal life that nobody noticed before collapse become surveillance data after. Speak quietly, move quietly, exist quietly. Sound discipline isn't paranoia, it's physics. Olfactory discipline. This one people forget. Cooking food creates smell. That smell travels. In a world where everyone is hungry, the smell of cooking meat is a dinner bell. A pot of beans simmering for 4 hours is 4 hours of advertising. Wood smoke from a fire says, "Someone is here," to everyone downwind. The human nose can detect food smells from over 100 meters in still air. With wind, that range extends dramatically. A barbecue smell can travel half a mile, frying bacon even farther. Your stomach growling at the smell of someone else's cooking? That works both ways. When you cook, everyone within smelling distance knows, and some of them are desperate enough to investigate. Cold food, sealed containers, strategic cooking times when wind carries smell away from population. Cook at noon when ambient temperatures mask heat signatures. Cook when wind blows toward empty areas. Better yet, don't cook at all during high-threat periods. It sounds extreme. It is extreme. But extreme is what survival looks like when 9 patterns are hunting you. Here's the reality. 99% of people who prep focus on supplies, food, water, weapons. They stack inventory and feel prepared. Then collapse comes, and they discover that inventory without invisibility is just a shopping list for someone more desperate. The goal isn't to have the most. The goal is to look like you have the least. The winners aren't the ones with the biggest stockpiles. The winners are the ones nobody remembers exist. Everything breaks. The question is, what breaks first? Your neighbor's operational security broke the moment he started that generator. Your visibility breaks the moment someone sees you eating when they're starving. Your security breaks the moment someone inside your group decides your supplies are more valuable than your friendship. Don't be the first thing that breaks. Gray rock. Stay quiet. Stay dark. Stay invisible. Stay boring. Stay poor. Stay empty. Be nothing. Have nothing. Want nothing. At least that's what they need to see. The horde passes. The raiders move on. The desperate find easier targets. You survive by being no one's target at all. Next video, I'm covering the 72-hour decision window. The first 3 days after collapse determine everything. What you do in those 72 hours decides whether you survive the next 72 weeks. The decisions you make when you're still thinking clearly, before hunger clouds judgment, before fear takes over. Subscribe. It drops next week. Stay gray. Stay alive.